Welcome to the Comic Storian channel, where I take some of your favorite comic books, video games, and movies, and break down the lore behind them, allowing you to catch up on your favorite plot lines while getting on with your busy life. What we do here is basically take the storyline and break it down into an audio narrative. Think Audible, but a much cheaper form of Audible. A lot of times we like to do comic books weeks after they've come out so that we can tell you more of a complete story with a beginning, middle, and end. Or we'll take the entire plot to a video game and run down the entire plot, allowing you to know what happened in the previous game so that you can go play the next game in the series. Well, today we're going to do something a little different. Gweenpool is one of my favorite characters that was recently introduced into Marvel Comics a few years ago. And as her comic book came to its inevitable conclusion, she was canceled and the comic was ended. The character of Gweenpool started off as a variant cover, Gwen Stacy as Deadpool, but the costume was so well liked that they decided to do a one-off issue of this crazy Gweenpool character. And that led to her getting her own series until it was inevitably canceled. Well, for a character like Gweenpool, who's not Spider-Man, who's not Batman, who doesn't have a massive 80-year history, this is a character that you need to go buy the comics of or buy the Gweenpool merchandise. You have to support this type of a character if you want to see more of them. And so, to let you know that Gweenpool has started up a brand new series, I decided to cover the first issue here. Now, I'm going to tell you, this is not for everyone. Gweenpool's basic character powers is that she exists from our universe, and that gives her the ability to manipulate the comic book because she's aware that it's a comic book. She can jump between panels and stuff. She explains it better in her storyline, and you're going to get that in a minute, but be aware, this is a wacky, off-the-wall comic book, but I wanted you to be aware that it exists, and you need to go pick up the next issues if you want this to continue. All right, on that note, let's get into that Gweenpool. Has anyone ever looked at a pregnant lady before and had the urge to squeeze her like a toothpaste tube? Follow-up question, do doctors delivering babies get the same satisfaction high as the pimple-popping doctors? Gasp! Wait! Is this internal monologuing? Does this mean? Gweenpool rips down the panel shouting, "It does! We're in a Gweenpool solo story! And I'm Gweenpool, if you couldn't tell. Let's take a quick peek at the next page and see if this is a one-shot or..." Okay, not to sound ungrateful, but anyway, let's get things straight. Let's go over a few things. First, she's not Gwen Stacy or Girl Deadpool. Speaking of which, unlike Deadpool, she is pretty much intended to be a subverse, self-aware commentary of Cape Comics. Think of it like a conversation between the fans and the creators from the page. Another thing to note is that she's pretty much always under constant threat of getting retconned out of the 616 existence because it's part of her actual character origins. She's still very much earning her place in the world, even if she can't automatically get booted back to where she's from. There's plenty more to cover, but the too long didn't read is that she's from the real reality and just happens to live in the comic book world on purpose. No one believes her about being a comic though, and they mostly think that she's insane or mysterious. But whatevs, is that really her problem? You all know that she's telling the truth though, right? Like, could a Marvel character say something like, "I'd let Dinah Lance kick me in the face and I'd be thankful for it"? Okay, readers, so recap 5 minutes ago. Gweenpool was robbing a bank in her pajamas. As Gweenpool fires off the last rounds of her gun, she looks down at the pregnant woman sitting there and tells her, "If you pop, the cops will be called, so keep the nugget tucked in there." The teller then pushes a bag of money over the glass window, stating that that's all they have right now. The manager has to come down and open the big safe for more cash. Gweenpool looks at the bag, stating, "I'm good." And the teller asks, "Are you sure? Because I could really call the manager right now." The teller continues, "It wouldn't be a problem. Watch, I can do it right now." But Gweenpool sticks the gun into his face, shouting, "No! No means no!" And that's when Gweenpool's gun is yanked out of her hand and Spider-Man swings in yelling, "Hey, stop!" Gweenpool yells, "Spider-Man, finally! I need a favor." As Gweenpool walks, her pants fall off. And Spider-Man tells her that that's gonna be a firm no. The cops are already en route. She takes off her disguise, telling him, "Look, false alarm! See? It's Gweenpool!" Spider-Man pauses and asks, "So you're not robbing a bank?" She takes out her fancy Geiger counter and says, "The only thing that I'm robbing from this bank is all of the dangerous radioactive materials currently here." Spider-Man jumps down. "I'm very confused." And Gweenpool tells him, "I get that a lot, but this here is my trusty Geiger counter. I'm just checking the..." Spider-Man swats her hand away, stating that she's creeping up on his leg. And she says, "That's a fair one." So then he asks, "What about the bullets?" And Gweenpool tells him, "Oh, it's because radiation rises. Duh." Just wait a second. Is this thing working? Listen, I need a favor, Peter. Gweenpool begins to pull up Spider-Man's mask and he quickly pulls it back down, asking, "Are you insane? Did anyone see? Why would you do something like that?" So she tells him, look, I'm sorry, I just need you to bite me or give me spider powers so that I can stay in this universe. Besides, everyone read Civil War. Unmasking a Spider-Man is basically a rite of passage these days. I unmasked Miles in a different universe and it turned out fine. Everyone in the bank stops staring and Gwenpool looks around telling them all, geez, I haven't had this many people give me the stink eye since I showed my family my senior photo. And as Gwenpool shows Spider-Man her senior photo, he whips her to the ground and she yells, this was the losing death in the Monster Girl dating sim I couldn't finish. So Spider-Man asks, how do you lose it up? You know what? Never mind. I'm not radioactive. The Spider-Man that bit me was. He starts to take the hostages out and Gwenpool yells, hey, can you help a girl out? Irradiate me or something? So he shouts, go irradiate yourself. Stay put. Soon Gwenpool begins to hear sirens and she starts hopping around stating, I have to get out of here. Going to jail's not an option. And just then, the sound of someone vomiting can be heard. Gwenpool looks over to see a sickly Gwenpool. What's up, gross Gwen? You okay there? Fun fact. Bananas are low-key radioactive. You just have to eat millions of bananas in one sitting to give yourself radiation poisoning. So you know what that means. Consume bananas with impunity. As gross Gwen begins to cut the webbing, she tosses the bladed bracelet and tells her to get the change. Oh, and move to the left a little bit. Gross Gwen then throws the Geiger counter at Gwenpool's head, knocking her down, but also causing her to miss Spider-Man's latest thwip. Spider-Man then shouts, hey, how did you get free? Gross Gwen puts on the disguise and yells, go on, you know where to hide. As Gwenpool takes off, an officer finds Gross Gwen telling her, hey, got the radiation sickness, I just puke. Ooh. Gwenpool then jumps off the panel and jumps up, but before falling into the gutter between the panels, she notices something different. The rest of her continuity is gone. Is this how it's going to end? Is she going to be retconned? It's not like she can go home. Doctor Strange made sure of that in the previous storyline. But just before falling into the void, Gwenpool sits on the panel stating, there's gotta be something better. Maybe I can steal Pym particles. It worked for Scott Lang. Or maybe I could check Geagle. How to expose myself to radiation. As the search results flood in with links to places you might not think, Gwenpool then sees that she only has 2 more pages left before this book ends, so whatever it is, it's gotta work. Just then a rather intrusive thought balloon floats by and Gwenpool says, what is it, girl? Are you trying to say something? Did the plot fall down a well? Gwenpool sticks her head in it and sees herself lounging on a chair yelling, boy oh boy, I just love breathing in all this radon gas. Thank you, Radioactive Man. Radioactive Man looks up, dropping his plate of bananas, asking, where the hell did you come from? And then the Geiger counter starts to go crazy. Gwenpool pulls her head back stating, I really do love comics, and then proceeds to barf. And guess who just found out about a cool plot device which is basically going to land herself a miniseries? It's Gwen. So true believers, what you've learned is that Gwenpool can now alter reality by manipulating whatever happens off panel. That means that she can flash back to stuff that's never even happened and make it happen. So back on page 15, panel 3, the now gross Gwen is cutting out past Gwen telling her fun fact. Bananas are low-key radioactive. And there you have it, folks, the conclusion to the first issue of Gweenpool. Now, this is definitely not for everyone. I mean, if you watched our previous Gweenpool video, then you understand who this character basically is. She's just insane and able to do all kinds of things, but it does lead to some more touching moments. So, if you do like this, though, you need to go buy it. This is one of those books. Get it digital. Go to your local comic book store. This is one of those series that will only make it 5 issues and then just end unless you go ahead and purchase more issues. Show them that you want more Gweenpool. So, that's why I decided to do this first issue. If you want more of this storyline, let me know in the comments down below. Give this video a like, and we'll continue giving these single issues as they come out to help bolster the sales of Gweenpool, if that's what you want. If you don't give this video a like. Watch it. I appreciate you for watching this, and I'll see you next time right here.